Leeds.
We do love you, Leeds. Hello. Welcome back to Imagine Not Being Leeds for this opposition preview. My friendly preview with my good friend Wayne from Onlyfools and Safc. Hey up, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm really good. We've got to try and pretend now that we haven't just done a half an hour, 40-minute preview on your channel. Like we've just seen each other for the first time in months. We've got to try and speak about it all again.
How are you doing?
I've seen you for about 4 minutes. How are you doing, mate? But no, yeah, I'm really good, mate. Really enjoying the YouTube experience. You're a massive support of mine, even though we are rivals, promotion rivals. You look at Leeds fondly. I look at Sunderland fondly, and we've got a friendship's come out of it, which I didn't expect. And yeah, much appreciated. You've helped me with a lot of stuff early doors as well, and it's really nice to have you on my show yet again. And my regulars will know you very well. This is the third time I think I've had you on.
No, not him again. This Matt.
And hopefully we'll be at even though obviously it's a bit last time we play each other. Hopefully. It should definitely be the last time we play each other. One of us will definitely finish in the top two. I would imagine at least. Imagine in playoffs. Oh no, that would be Imagine Not Being Leeds. Christ.
No, let's not get that.
We won't go down that route, but yeah,
hopefully we'll finish in the top two. That's what we'll aim for.
Hopefully, it's a promotion party next time we're on the same show, mate. Let's be up. This next preview is a Premier League preview.
Aye, that would be nice.
That would be nice, my friend. But yeah, so obviously Leeds have had a massive upturn in performance lately. Last time, I think, the first time I had you on here, you were 5 points clear. You sort of had measured views then, measured expectations. You sort of tempered expectations a bit and did say your squad didn't feel thick enough, deep enough to remain in that spot. We've seen, you've lost Mundle for a long period of time, and that's definitely hampered you going forward. I think, is it Tommy Watson? He filled in there a bit, and he's a really good player. But you have seen this season, haven't you, that thickness to your squad not being there has probably hampered you. Is that what you say? You've fallen away a bit?
I think not investing more heavily in the transfer window in January kind of killed that even more. Obviously you've seen Enzo Lafay, who we signed, who's absolutely different class. He's head and shoulders above anything in this league, midfield wise. But he was the only one we signed, and we needed more. We needed a proven centre forward, and now we've got Wilson Isidore. Yeah, we needed more, and we didn't get it. We signed an injured centre forward from Liverpool. I mean, what that was all about, I've got no idea. Have you heard about that?
No.
So we transfer deadline day, we're looking for a striker, but we're getting linked with all these players. We ended up signing Jayden Danns, young lad from Liverpool. Did his medical, which identified an issue with his back. So we've still signed him on loan, but he's gone back to Liverpool to do his recuperation, and we didn't know when we're going to get him back. But what sort of sign? That's just absolutely crazy. And that's the only two signings we made, and we needed cover for the full area. We didn't get it. Obviously, midfield were quite well off, and Mundle's coming back. But I would have liked to see a right winger to push Roberts, but we didn't get it. So I think that's Miani kind of left us a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. This is the January transfer window. When we are in the position that we are, 100%. You get promoted. You should have went for it. I mean, I know Hughes didn't sign anybody, but your strength in depth and squad is good enough to anywhere.
But you emulate really where we were last season. We were in that third, fourth space last season, and it was that just push the envelope. He's in touching distance. We're not too far out at realms of possibility that we could nick in there, especially with you playing Leeds. Teams have got to play each other. We've got Sheffield United after you. Lots of teams up there, vying for those spots, but it's not a massive gap between any of us. A couple of drop points and a couple of wins back to back, and you could be there. So it reminds me very much of Leeds last season, and we only brought in a right back to replace Jed Spencer went out. So basically, we're like for like. We didn't make any signings last January. And I mean, do you feel like you got Isidore, didn't you, on a permanent? Obviously, he's there currently. Do you feel like that was a bit of a, I don't know, throwing a bone to fans to say, here's a sweetener, fans.
Just to kind of, we have signed and we've made this permanent, but even at the start of the season, we're still not getting it. And at the start of the season, we signed Saleh Samed, who's been injured all season. Then he come back in for the last 2 or 3 games. We signed a centre forward, 3.5 million. Ahmed Abdullahi, who's never kicked a ball for the first team. He's played 3 reserve team games and scored 4 goals. So he's due to come back in the first team soon. Okay. But like I said, it's frustrating because, like you've just been saying, you're in that top 3. You've just got to then push on, sink or swim. because if we don't get promoted, we're going to lose likes of Chris Ray, we're going to lose Job. We're not going to get a better chance, in my eyes, to get promoted as where we are now. So I think they just should have pushed the boat out a little bit more and went for it. I mean, we're getting Lafayette, and he hasn't cost us now. The loan fees now, we're just paying his wages, but there's a £20 million fee if we get promoted.
Is it an obligation, though? You will get him if you go up?
We will get him if we can up.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, he's some serious talent. I mean, I can't believe somehow you've managed to get him in January to Championship. It seems crazy.
It's all down to the manager, Matty, because
really?
He worked with Lebris in Lorient. Lorient brought him through the youth ranks, gave him his debut. So hadn't been for our manager, he'd have been neighbour and area. So it's that because of that link, he's kind of stepped in and made it happen.
He's been playing out on the left, I think, has he? And he is a number 10.
He is, aye.
And is he going to be moving in there with Mundle coming back, and we should see the best of him? Is that what you're saying?
That's the plan. So, but Mundle's just got back full training the last week and a half. So, I think he might be on the bench on Monday night, which is an option. But I cannot wait to see him in the middle because he's been outstanding playing out on the left hand side. I mean, he scored on Saturday.
He did, yeah.
But to get him in the middle where he can create stuff, I just cannot wait to see him. But
he should put plenty on the plate for Isidore as well. You know what I mean? He should benefit from having someone like him behind him. I mean, who's been playing in the 10 currently?
So we've been playing with Dan Neil deep lying. Then we've had Chris Rigg and Job playing further forward with Roberts and Lafayette and Isidore up front. So we've been a 4-3-3 type of formation.
Yeah. I mean, Patrick Roberts, I feel like he's been around forever. But I mean, how old is Patrick Roberts?
I think he's still only about 25, 26, would you believe?
He's been around forever. I remember him at City when he was a kid, and he's always been a talented player, but he feels like he's got a bit of a home at Sunderland. I mean, how's he doing this season? Is he performing well, or is he just making up the numbers? What do you think?
He starts week in, week out, but I'm not his biggest fan, and there's a lot of fans feel the same because he's one of these players who gets the ball at his feet. He's absolutely brilliant. He can gun past people as they're not even there, but his end product is non-existent.
Was it not?
No, for what he can do, he's shooting and crossing's absolutely shocking. And I think he scores one goal every 2 years. That's the way it feels like.
What's his G&A? Does he get many assists or?
I think he's had a good season this season. I think he's had about 8 or 9 assists this season, which compared to last season, I think he had about 3 last season, which is probably a good season for him. But for the talent he has, he should be a lot better, and it's just so frustrating. But what he does do is he carries the ball and gets us up the pitch, and he draws fouls, which is probably a good asset in itself. But I just wish he could improve that final output and that final ball. It'd be worth millions if he could do that.
Yeah, 100%. He's a talent. When it comes to your players, you've already said mate, that you don't think a lot of them will stay if you stay in this division. I said to you on your channel just a few minutes ago that what I love about Sunderland, very much like Leeds, you can see you can see a progression in the side. You can see if you were to go up, you've invested well. You've got a philosophy there. You've got decent players there, young talents there. Where I think Burnley, Sheffield United, I aren't too sure they're really looking at it that way. Like you say, Ashley Barnes going to Burnley, and obviously you've got Sheffield United with Wilder. How serious are they about going to Premier League and sustaining that? I don't really know. But do you think, honestly, that you will? Because for me, sometimes you get there and you miss out that first time, like Leeds did last season. You need that to go again. Is there no chance at all a Job, a Chris Rigg would stay thinking we've got a good chance here of going again?
I think we've probably got more chance of keeping Chris Rigg at the minute. But Job, he absolutely loves it again. He loves the fans. Yeah. He loves playing for Sunderland. But, I know he's only 19, but
crazy that.
He's going to want the aspirations of playing in the Premier League, and I think there's already. I mean, even abroad, I've got a feeling he might take the same path as Jude because Borussia Dortmund have been looking at him, and I think if he does leave, I think he will go abroad. I do think that because he's got the same path as Jude.
Yeah. It's an hard one for him, isn't it, mate? Because he's got his brother to emulate. All that noise where his brother is, and a lot of these play a bit like Somerville, right? When he goes to West Ham, I don't feel like Job's going to do that. I feel like Job's temptation will be higher than that. It's not just a case of let me join a low-end Premier League team. It's probably going to be higher than that. Right. How do you turn that down, Wayne?
That's it. I mean, Jack Clark left us for Ipswich, and he's gone there, and he's had an absolutely nightmare for them because he's in a struggling side. They're not playing well. don't play to his strengths, and now he looks like a bad signing for them.
Yeah, it does.
Whereas if he'd stopped here, give us till the end of the season, he could have, contributed to get us promoted, and then moved on. Which I think Job and Rig have done the right thing, because they could have easily went in January. I think because there were people sniffing around them, but they've stopped and they've said they wanted to stay, which is fair play to them. I just hope that we get promoted and they give us a season in the Prem with us, and then move on.
You sound just like us. Like in Bielsa area, we were saying about Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips was touted in Championship as going, and you want to get up there and you want to see him play for you in the Prem. You want to see him tested at that level, but for you, don't you? And you know it's a ticking time bomb when you get these talented players. And unfortunately, you've had a lot of good players who, you do lose a lot of talent, don't you? And like I say, Jack Clark turned out really. It weren't that big a deal because you had Mundell, and sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. I mean, look at us with Somerville. We lost Somerville. He was our most impactful player. We lost Rutter. We lost Archie Gray. Maybe Rutter is probably the only one we sort of lose because he had that sort of X factor. But Aronson's filled in well. I'd say Solomon's an upgrade on Somerville. I'd say Jaden Bogle for Leeds is an upgrade on Archie Gray at right back. So sometimes it's a blessing in disguise, and I think it's funny with Leeds. We lost to Southampton in playoff final, and you're looking at now Russell Martin hasn't got a job. Right. Adam Armstrong who scored the goal. He's now at West Brom. It's mental. 6 months in football, mate.
Madness.
It all changes. Like it's crazy. He's at West Brom. Is Adam Armstrong after scoring a goal, got a Premier League?
Well, we tried to sign him. Yeah, deadline day, but obviously he's a mag. He's a Newcastle supporter, so I couldn't believe when we'd been linked with him. I was like, what are they thinking about?
Would that be strong enough of a hatred on his part not to actually come to you based on that, or do you think?
Well, I think probably on his part. Apparently, when it came out, he straight away said he had any interest. I mean,
really?
we were linked with some cracking centre forwards. Chuba Akpom. We were involved
player at this level.
Great for us. He would have been an absolutely fantastic signing, but just wasn't to be. And that's the disappointing thing when you get linked with all these decent players and end up with none of them. You're like.
Yeah.
Did you really try for them?
Yeah, maybe not. Sometimes it just gets leaked to make the fans think, didn't it, that, they tried. And we had that a lot of Leeds. We were linked with Cameron Archer. We were linked with Adam Armstrong. And we ended up getting none of them. But I ain't too sure Leeds were ever really bothered. I feel like we've backed the squad. And you can go one or two ways. You can back it blind faith and it go wrong. Or you can back it and lads turn around and go, they haven't needed to bring anyone in. They fancy it, you know what I mean? They believe in us, and I think that's what you've seen with Leeds now. Everyone said a couple of injuries can derail a season. It can, but if you look at every other side, regardless on strength, if Sheffield United want to lose Gus Hamer, you can go through every single side, can't you, and go, regardless on depth, if Hamer goes out of Sheffield United, even if they had a decent backup, he ain't as good as Hamer. If you lost Job, regardless of your strength and depth in that midfield, you're going to lose. So you can say about anything, you can't live your life in fear, mate. So I'm quite happy that back the boys win. And
I do think, fair play, and I will back the club this year. That like the Tom Cannon situation, for example, was between us and Sheffield United that were in for him. Now, fair play to us because. We only offered a loan with an option to buy. Yeah. Whereas they've ended up paying, I think, £10 million for him, and he can't get a game for Leicester in the Prem. So if they do get promoted, where's he going to be then? Barrett and Diaz, another one, fantastic at this level, but when you make that step, can it do it?
I agree. You don't want to use any of your. It's a gamble, but if you do go up, you don't want to use any of that transfer budget for the Prem on players who you probably aren't going to play. So these players just end up being recycled all the time. They go up, the bench players, they come back down. It's just a recycle motion for them, and it's what they'll do all the careers. I mean, Ben Brayton Diaz, he might get him up, but then next season, where is he again? It's just there's no longevity to him as Premier League players. So if you can get him on an option, if you can get him on a straight loan, that's perfect. You don't want the obligation. You don't need the hassle just in case. I mean, we got offered apparently Adam Armstrong on a straight loan, and apparently Leeds said no. Farker said no. He turned it down because apparently we were going to get Armstrong. With Cameron Archer, it was going to be an obligation. I think around 15 million, and that's a massive chunky budget gone on a player. I mean, is Cameron Archer going to lead line for Leeds United in Premier League? You'd say
he can't get a game. He can't get a game with Southampton.
Exactly. So, hence why he's linked anyway. So it's one of them where looking back, you want a shiny new toy, but looking back, I'm really pleased that we didn't do anything. But it's easier said now after a couple of really big wins.
I mean, at the time we've got Lafayette, and so for a fact, £20 million for him is £20 million well spent.
100%.
2 transfers he's had. He's cost €50 odd million in the 2 transfers he's had. He's quality.
Crazy.
You know what I mean?
It's quality over quantity as well with that. You know, you might not have strengthened in as many key areas as you wanted, but he definitely is one of them players where you can look back and he could be a difference maker. He could be that missing piece, you know, 100%. And I think he's such a talent, and to see him playing at 10 potentially at Ellen Road, whether it's, you know, halfway through the game or I'm actually looking forward to watching him play in person in there, because I mean, he got a lot of I think a lot of Leeds fans were offended when you signed him, in terms of you know, like you said rightly so in your opinion as well, you know, best player in this league. I mean, in as a number 10, I ain't going to argue with that. Aronson, I don't think could lace his boots as well as he does well for us. He isn't that kind of player, technically gifted like Lefay is. So I can't really comment. But a lot of Leeds fans, you know, were like, "Oh, who's this best player?" Sunderland. He's right up there. He's talented.
What you'll notice about him as well, though, Ferrari's got talent, and he's only small, but he can tackle and he fights and he works.
Does he run back? Does he chase back?
He runs back and he defends and he can tackle as well, which is normally a number 10. Once somebody ran past you, they didn't chase them back, but he does that. So
that goes with respect he's got for manager as well, doesn't it? Like you say, you've got him because of his friendship with manager. He obviously wanted to play for him again to the point where he dropped down, you know, into Championship to play when everybody said it's the level's too low for him. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him, and we'll see how it goes. Who do you think Leeds should be worried about, except for Lefay? Because I'm going to say, obviously, he's a massive talent, but who do you expect who's going to start? Who's going to be our biggest worry outside of the obvious?
I would probably, based on current form, I think probably Job. But if Dan Neil is allowed to dictate in the middle of the pitch, because Dan Neil, on his day, if he's given the time and space, can be outstanding. I mean, he seems to have so much time on the ball, and he wriggles out with tackles. And by now, you know, your midfield's quite strong anyway. But I think that midfield battle, if we can get Dan Neil on the ball and he can start dictating to Job, I don't know about Chris Rigg if Chris Rigg's going to be fit. If he's not fit, then I'm not too sure what kind of formation we'll play, because Alan Brown might come in there. Or I'm hoping that he doesn't bring Samed in, because I don't know whether you've seen Samed play. So Samed, he's played Champions League, but he's played like 3 or 4 games for us, and he's been absolute dog shit.
I think, is this the lad you signed in summer? Because I remember you telling me on one of the videos you've got a Champions League player. Oh, you hadn't seen, right? This is him, and he hasn't lived up to it, pal.
He's come back in the side. Clearly, he's had a bad injury, so it's going to take time to get up to speed. But he looks too slow, and he's not physical enough for the Championship. And he's already made a couple of errors. So if he plays on Monday and he plays that deep lying role, that's where Leeds can guard him, because if they put pressure on him, he's liable to make a mistake, and that could be our weakness. So, but as for players, if Roberts is on his game, Roberts can hurt teams because he guards fouls. But it's the input, like I said. But for me, it'll be Job. If he can get forward and if he can start getting some shots away, then he could be the danger man. Yeah,
no, I told you on your channel, didn't I, that Job's a massive favourite of mine, and he's probably my biggest worry. What I'll say with Leeds is our fullbacks are really, really good going forward. Firpot and Bogle, I'd say that the form fullbacks in the league. We've sort of got what we needed now. I mean, last season we had Firpot bombing up the left, but we had Archie Gray, who always sat back. And then this season we had Bogle going up, but Firpot's been injured, has been suspended. He's been in and out, so we've had Byram sort of sitting back. Now I think, you know, an upturn in performance as well. It comes down to Farken having 2 natural wide players who play with width, so you've got the overlaps with the wingers. But what I will say, that does allow, if we lose the ball up high, it does allow space to run into. They're very quick at recovering. But if you have, you know, if Patrick Roberts is on it, if you've got Mundle maybe coming back, if you play with high tempo, if we lose that ball high up, there's every chance for a counter. That's what worries me with Sunderland. I'm hoping you're going to come and play, but you've sort of touched on before that you think you might sit in. That might suit you down to the ground, because if you give us a ball and we're bombing up there, whipping balls in, there's going to be plenty of chance for you to counter. So our midfield has to be on it to make sure we sort of clean up any chance of that happening. But that's my main worry, is you catches on counter in this one win.
I think certainly in the first 15-20 minutes we've seen how you start games, so we've got to just keep it tight. We cannot afford to concede an early goal, and I think if we do keep it tight even at half time, I think second half you might see us come out and have a go. And I think I said it on my channel, on my show there, the first goal I think is going to be crucial, because when we score first, we tend to do well. We don't really lose very many games when we score first. And I think you were saying if you concede first, you struggle. So it's kind of the first goal going to be massive.
Who's your I always ask you this. I should know his name, but who's your centre half you signed from Premier League? Who you really like? Your centre half, Chris Mepham. So you're a massive fan of him.
He dropped him on Saturday.
Really? So is that based on form or tactics?
Well, he's had the last couple of games. He hasn't been outstanding, but he's been a bit off the boil. But I think on Saturday he brought Dan Ballard back in. I think purely to cope with Carlton Morris, the physicality. And to be fair, Dan Ballard was immense. He was absolutely. Carlton Morris never got a kick. So I think if Perrault's playing, I think we might see Dan Ballard continue, because we've got Luke O'Nien with the energy, can bring the ball out from the back. So I think that them fullbacks for both sides could be crucial, because we've got Hume and Turton who also bomb forward and all. And I think it'll be whoever gets caught out the most.
100%. No, I agree with that. I wanted to touch on Luke O'Nien. I mean, I remember watching him. I'm sure he was on documentary as well, one back in the day. I remember watching him on that, and I think he signed him that year, or he was a young kid anyway. But I really liked his attitude on that. I remember watching him talk, spoke really well. I think he's captain, is he?
No, he's right. Dan Neil. Yeah, he was captain, but Dan Neil.
Yeah, I've seen him as captain, but he's definitely got the respect of the players. He handles himself really well. Is he good enough starting centre half for a side challenging for promotion? Am I being harsh on him? I don't know. I'm just asking you. Is he well thought of at Sunderland?
There's a massive debate amongst us. So I have an argument every week on my channel when I do my videos, because I do like him. He's one of these who always gives 100%, and he brings energy to the side. But he's one of these players who's always got a mistake in him.
Yeah,
he'll either give a penalty away, or he'll commit a stupid foul, or he gets sent off. But
that's what I'm thinking.
He's played almost 300 games for us. He's coming towards 300 games, and he's played that many different positions. But he's
not. He didn't start as a centre half, did he?
No, we bought him as a centre midfield player, but he never made the grade. Then he played right back for a while. Then he played left back, and then when we moved to centre half, he's been there for like every manager that's had him. They've always played him.
Wow.
So he obviously he's got like, I don't know, he's got that kind of aura around him where but he's also a bit of a shithouse. He's got that shithousery in him, that what you need, like the Robbie Savage type player, that player and gets in players and stuff. He's that type of player. So for that, that's why I think he's in the side. But from a defensive point of view, if you want a solid defense, I would have liked to say Mepham and Ballard, two orthodox centre halves, two big lads, two rocks, but I think we've got the mixture there where we've got Ballard or Mepham, who's the kind of the calming influence, and the energy and pace to mop things up in Luke O'Nien.
So that's how it normally is. It's Luke O'Nien and another.
That's the way it's been. Wow. It's either been Ballard. Well, Ballard's been out injured, so it's mainly been Mepham and Luke O'Nien. And on Saturday it was Ballard and Luke O'Nien, which I think Ballard will probably keep his place for Monday based on how he played on Saturday. Plus Joel Perrault's. He's a big lad. I wouldn't say he's physical, but he's a big lad, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not the most physical, but he's been criticised a lot by Leeds fans since he's come here, just because he's got that. You get those strikers sometimes who appears to be lazy. His body language looks a little bit chilled, but I tell you what, he's G in there since he's been at Leeds. You can't argue with it, and I would say he's more mobile now than he ever has been. I feel like he's had to force his way into a system that he didn't really suit last season, and now we're seeing fruits of his labour. I think Pirro's a massive asset to us. I mean, Joseph started as our number 9 when the season started. Pirro had to bide his time, come off a bench, get these goals, and now he's just smashing it. I mean, Pirro, he looks outstanding, and I didn't think he'd be this good in this system with Leeds United, because I just didn't think he suited playing as the lone striker. He's one of them, like old school, where he wants to partner someone up top. But yeah, it's working really well. But looking at your fixtures this season, obviously I've kept a keen eye. We've obviously been friends with you, and I think a lot of Leeds fans, have respect for Sunderland. Massive club, massive history, big stadium, fan base. It resonates a lot with Leeds fans. We are like sleeping giants in this division, and I'm sure a lot of Premier League teams would rather you guys come up to. And it's that sort of remember old sticker books growing up and Sunderland in there as well. You know, it's one of them. But I saw you've been compared a lot to Ipswich, which I don't know if you know. I've seen a few Sunderland fans on We Sport last time said it wasn't a fair criticism. You've been in player final recently, and they just come up and gone up, and it's not really based on anything to do with the club. It's just based in that never say die attitude. You could be a couple of goals down, you come back and you get a draw, you go to 90th minute, you shoot on site, so you get deflected goals, you get all sorts of, you make your own luck because of how you play. And I think it's a fair comparison in my point of view, based on what I'm saying. It's exciting football and you never say die attitude. How do you feel on that tag? Because I don't know if you hear it, but we speak about it a lot, saying they're just like Ipswich Sunderland, they just don't give up.
I can't say we've heard it too much amongst our fan base. We didn't really compare ourselves to Ipswich at all.
No.
Probably a fair tag, actually. Like it's that young team and that energy. And I think out of the top 4 teams, I think I said this on one of your shows before, that we never ever expected in a million years that we'd be even anywhere near the top 4. We were hoping for playoffs at best, really. And I think we've far outweighed and excelled any expectations that we had.
Yeah.
So whichever way the season goes, we've had an absolutely fantastic season. But once you're there with this many games to go, you just want to try and push on and get over the line. But I think you're right. I think we've outweighed, and we are that type of side who can, on our day, I think in the whole of the league, and we've seen all the teams now, I think us and you probably play the most attractive football
out
of the full league. So,
I think so.
Seeing Burnley, seeing Sheffield United, I mean, at the start of the season, you would have expected Luton to be up there as well. All the teams that come down Luton, but Luton are going to do your Sunderland. They're going to go straight back through the leagues, like Prem, Championship in the League One. I mean, they were awful them on Saturday. Absolutely awful. Oh, they were terrible.
Really?
Really, really poor. Well, not poor. I mean, last night they were really, really poor.
Yeah. What do you put down your draws this season? You've had, how many games have you had where you've, like you said, Plymouth, you've had so many draws, like it's unbelievable. What do you put this down to? I mean, a lot of these are coming back and getting a draw last minute, which seems a great result when you're losing, but you have dropped a lot of points, haven't you? We've chucked
loads of points away. I think there was a stat that somebody put out. I think if the games would all finish at 75, 80 minutes, we'd be top of the league by 2 points.
Is that what it is?
That was the kind of stat, the points that we've chucked away. And I think it's just having that naive young side where you need a bit of experience to manage games, see the game out. And, it's like when teams get a goal back, you start getting nervy and start being edgy. I mean, the Coventry game at home, you were beating Coventry 2-0. And then for whatever reason, we switched to a back 5 and we just, the system that we'd never ever played, nobody knew where they were playing, and we conceded 2 goals.
Wild.
Sometimes yourself when you win in 2-0, you've got to keep on doing what you do and not sit back. You've just got to keep on going for the third and kill the game off.
100%.
I think at times we've just been a bit naive and we've tried to sit back a bit, and but some of the time frustrating at time. Millwall away, the Plymouth, the Plymouth games last minute. It's just
wild. Do you think your manager was the right fit for you? Do you reckon it's a manager that's getting the best out of the players, or is it a case of you playing this well in spite of the manager because of the talent you've got?
No, I think it's down to the manager. I think so. He's come in. I mean, we hadn't really heard of him before we'd signed him, but he's done tremendous. To be fair, I mean, everybody's playing for him. They're all running through brick walls. I mean, once we lost Tony Mowbray, we thought that was it, But to be fair to him, he's come in. He's only ever managed abroad, and he's come in, settled in really well, and he's done fantastic. And some of the football that we've played this season has been amazing. Like, it's been really, really great on the eye, and just a shame that we've had a couple of key injuries and just haven't strengthened when we should have had, which is not his fault, really.
No, it's not, man. It's fair, like you say. It's you're probably where I'd expect you to be now. I mean, whether I said 4th at the start of the season, I can't profess to say, but I'd probably say you've dropped off, from top. You've had a lot of draws, you've dropped a lot of points, but you've got to be buzzing where you are, like you say. There's no way you'd expect to be above the relegation side from last season. And obviously Luton are down there, but Leeds are up there. So I think 4th is fair. I think Honestly, a lot of Leeds fans, are tipping you to get second. And I know when you look at the table, no, massively. I've had it in my chat last few days. A lot of Leeds fans think you might do it just because I think it's because of the way you play. And a lot of people are saying the same as what you said on your channel. They don't expect Burnley to keep these clean sheets, and if they start conceding, they don't score them. And I know they've signed some attacking players in January, but I don't see them getting as many points if they concede a few goals. But surely that's got to come. Surely
it has to. I mean, we missed 2 penalties down there. It's criminal. Absolutely criminal. If you listen to 2 penalties, but I think, like we did see in my show, there's no way can they keep on going the way they can, and only concede 9 goals in a season. It's just never been heard of.
It's nuts, isn't it? It's nuts.
Nuts, absolute nuts. You were saying you've only conceded 19, and that's absolutely fantastic. But to only concede single figures after 30 odd games, it's unreal.
It's anti-football, but there's more way to get points, and it's somehow, they obviously put a massive onus on defence, but I mean, so do we, but we conceded 10 more than them. That's how crazy that stat actually is. But that game when you miss 2 penalties, mate, when you say that you're doing a Sunderland, there you go, mate. That what you're doing a Sunderland, pal. I'm sure you were saying that a few times. But I think other than a prediction, I would like to know who wins this game on Monday night, and I'd like to know who goes up this season. Please, I'm going to put you on spot. Come on. So
ideal scenario, over the next 2 games, would be we come to Ellen Road and we need to win.
Yep.
Then you beat Sheffield United, which then leaves us second place with Burnley. Will be a lot tighter. That's the ideal scenario.
Yep.
Like I said in my show, if we'd beaten Plymouth and Watford, a draw at your place would have been a fantastic result. But I think now with where we are, we've got to try and come there and get a win.
Yeah.
For where we are, because we play Monday, the other 2 teams have already played. So I'm going to go for 1-1. I don't think we'll come there and get a win. I don't, unless we score first, and it might be a bit nervy and a bit edgy for yous. But I'm going to go for 1-1. I think yous might score first, and I think we might get a late equaliser. Promotion wise, I really can't see anybody stopping yous. To be fair, I think yous will get up as champions if you maintain this form, which you didn't look as though you're going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah.
And I think based on what I've seen so far, Sheffield United, even though they're not the most prettiest to watch, they seem to be a stronger side than Sheffield and Burnley. I think they've signed well for this league. Brereton Diaz is a good player at this level. I think they've just signed Rob Holden as a defender, who was a decent performance at this level. So they've signed players, and they've gotten players in the areas what they needed to get them in.
Yep.
And I think if they can keep the likes of Hamer fit, and them type of players, then I think Sheffield United will probably be favourites to finish in second place. But like I said here on my show, we've just got to be in a position where we just keep on ticking along. If the top 2 fall away or they make a mistake, we've got to be there to capitalise on that. And we've just got to keep this run of form going into the playoffs, if it is going to be playoffs, and that momentum carrying us forward. That's what I hope anyway. I'm hoping top 2, but I'm resigned to the 3rd or 4th place at the minute, I think.
Yeah, no, that's fair, mate. And I echo that, pal. Hopefully you met the top 2. I would love that. That would be my ideal situation. But it's I think that second spot is going to come down to wire. If I'm honest, I think we may hopefully have that top spot sewn up with a few games to go. If we maintain this, if we maintain the way we're playing, there's every reason. I mean, if we get 6 points out of next 2, then we'd dreamland that way. But we'll have to see how it goes.
I think this week defines you. I mean, you're playing 3 of the teams in the top 6, aren't you? I mean, West Brom on the day can beat anybody. Middlesbrough on the day can beat anybody. And that's why I was hoping they were going to Sheffield and get a result, but they got beat 3-1, which was a bit of a sickness from us. We thought they might have went there and got a result.
Me too, mate. Yeah, me too. But like I say, it's an intriguing one. 4 teams vying for them 2 top spots, and really, I'd say Leeds are probably nailed on to finish in the top 2. Definitely, that second spot. I can't wait to see what happens with it, mate. To be fair, but thank you so much for coming on, Wayne. I'm absolutely buzzing you've come on again. Anyone in this on my channel who wants to see any more Sunderland content, I know a few of you have already gone over and subscribed. One of my main subscribers, Danny, watches your videos quite regular. I know that for a fact. But go over to Onlyfools and Safc. Wayne is such a good guy, really great content. And he's doing great stuff over there. So I wish you all the best for the season. I wish you nothing but shite on Monday. I hope you guys travel well and get back and in safe space with no points, hopefully. But we'll see how you go, Wayne. But yeah, thank you so much. Take care. Please like and subscribe, and please subscribe over at Wayne's as well. Take care, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.